Hello, hello. Coming to you live from my backyard. Hopefully you can hear me. If you're watching live, let me know in the comments that you're here. If you're watching the replay, let me know that as well. So, I get DMs from people fairly often, asking my insights on things, sharing their perspectives on different topics, and there was a period of time where I would get really upset about it because it was like, fuck, like, I'm not just like pick an opinion, or just like, oh, I just want to get Steph's insight on this, especially if you're not paying me, right? But I've softened there because I do want to have conversations with people and I want to open up dialogue at different times. But this conversation that I had today is actually really interesting because it points to the side of a pattern that no one really wants to talk about. Okay, so if you know me, I love entitlement patterns. I think they're so much fun because they're hilarious. In general, the way that entitlement is taught or discussed, it's like it's someone who feels that they deserve some sort of perk. They deserve some sort of benefit, some sort of positive experience, right? So you'll see this with people at the grocery store. They feel entitled to a certain level of customer service, despite the fact that that's actually not present in reality. You are actually not entitled to anything. And this is a very basic concept or principle. Roxy, you don't have to stay here. You're not locked. Like, you're free to roam around. And so this concept of entitlement is really centered around, let me not be in the present reality with my experience. I want something different. Right? So just lack of presence in general. But what I noticed today in the conversation I was having with this person was that we don't often talk about the entitlement to really shitty things. So yeah, we feel entitled to good customer service, let's say. But dependent on where your self-worth is, you might actually feel highly entitled to a really shitty experience because you feel you deserve it, right? So let's take the example of the person who's at a grocery store who feels that they deserve excellent customer service, despite the fact that that's not actually what's real right now. Well, someone who thinks that their life is shitty, someone who believes that they're never going to get what they want, they feel entitled to that experience. They feel entitled to not getting their way. And so the moment that you actually allow them to have their desire, they'll lose their mind. Because we need to look at entitlement from all directions. It's a feeling that you think you deserve something. And so if you think you deserve something you don't, because you don't deserve a shitty life, you don't deserve perks that are unreasonable or unrealistic, you deserve human decency, you deserve access to your desires, you deserve fundamentally certain things. But when you don't think that, when you don't think you are owed the basics, when you think that you are owed more than the basics, what it says is that you think your deservedness determines whether or not you get something. Do I deserve this? Yes or no? When the truth is, none of us deserve fucking anything. But we get what we show up for. That's what you're going to have. That is all life is you get what you show up for. So if you show up as someone who is reverent, as responsible with your resources, the byproduct of that is more money. The byproduct of that is more time. It is more energy. It is naturally going to show up for you. But if you don't actually show up in your life and you expect an experience, well, baby, you're entitled to it. And it's fascinating to me because, and I've had different entitlements in my life, and this is probably why I love the pattern, because it is rooted in a fantasy. And often when we look at fantasy too, we think, oh, fantasy's all this like beautiful rainbows and butterflies and unicorns and all this other shit. But fantasy is anything not rooted in reality. It is the concept that we're telling ourselves, the story that we are reiterating to ourselves every single day. And then going out into the world, seeking evidence to substantiate this fantastical story that we're telling ourselves. And the fantastical story doesn't have to be that we're the queen of the world. The fantastical story can be that we're the fucking troll. Right? That is still fantasy. And so, like, one of the things that I want to say that in this particular regard is I grew up being called a princess, not because I really wasn't an untidy little girl, but I was always like very kind, very pleasurable. Like I was the epitome of sweet when I was really little. And so neighbors would call me Principessa, and it was like a whole thing. And when it would go to my head, it was like I deserved something, right? Like I worked so hard. I deserve this. Instead of being like, did I show up to receive it? So my entitlement, when it would show up, would be that I deserved a better experience than the one I was getting, okay? So this showed up in school. This showed up in my jobs. When I would like hustle my butt off at a career and then I didn't get the promotion or the raise, I'd be like, what the fuck, man? And I would totally be entitled to it because I wanted an experience better than the one that I was actually getting. But I wasn't showing up in my life to receive a better experience. But that wasn't always the case. Sometimes I was entitled to really shitty experiences. Want an example? I'll give you one. I'm so glad you asked. In my love life, I have been absolutely entitled to it being a joke. Absolutely. That the experience I demanded I would get would be one that was just laughably ridiculous. Instead of me actually showing up present to the relationship I was actually in. I felt deserving of shitty relationships. And so I never actually looked at the ones I was in and recognized when they weren't shitty. I've dated some spectacular men. Fucking-tacular men. Okay? And I would leave these spectacular men because I didn't believe I was deserving of it. And so that entitlement to a different experience than the one that I presently am in had me sabotage my entire life. When I wanted a better experience than the one I was in, I would be a total cunt at work. When I wanted a worse experience than the one I was in, I would leave the relationship. Because that is how entitlement works. It is that you deserve a different experience than the one that you are in. You're not present enough to reality. And part of this is because of these fantastical stories that you tell yourself and that you reiterate the neurological pathway in your mind. All you're going to do is either reinforce that or start to course correct. But the course correction isn't like easy. It's actually quite complex. It's quite heavy. It takes fucking time, you know? To rewire the part of you that thinks you are owed a different experience than the one you are in is a constant like course correction of you saying, wait, where am I right now? What is my present experience? Could I just receive right now? What am I not receiving right now? What am I pushing away? What am I denying in my pursuit of a different one? That's the only inquiry. And so what ended up happening, and what is currently always happening, because I'm always working out this pattern for myself, is that even in career, it was like I felt entitled to more money. That was my entitlement, right? I work hard. I should be owed more. I should get more money. I want a different paycheck than the one I'm getting. But I had zero respect for the paycheck I was getting. Money would come in and I'd blow it. It would go straight into my credit cards because I already spent it. I already spent the money on my credit cards. I would never actually buy myself anything that felt really good. And when it came to my time, I didn't really respect my time either because I would be working at 4 o'clock in the morning and get off at 7 p.m. And so I would be showing up to a different reality than the one I was present in versus I was working a job, a very basic job for 40 grand a year that did not need me working from 4 a.m. to 7 p.m. And had I actually just got present to reality, I could receive the reality and be like, well, what do I want to do about this now? Because the truth is, my boss isn't, I'm not entitled to my boss paying me more. I'm entitled to show up to my life. And so if I want more money and I know that at this job I'm not going to get more money, I go find a different fucking job. And this is what has always, and I've learned this skill over time and I've gotten really good at it. And this is part of the reason why like my family always laughs because they're like, Steph, you always were really good at money. It's because I would realize where my ceiling was in a circumstance. and say, do I want to continue receiving this, or do I want to actually shift and change it? And quite often I'd reach the ceiling and I'd be like, no, I'm shifting and changing. I'm not going to leave myself here. And so what would happen is I'd be like, I'm fucking done. And I would quit the job. And for years, my parents would be like, oh my God, you have to have a backup before you go, right? Like, you have to have a backup before you leave this job. And I never felt that way. And the reason why I never felt that way is because I always just happened to have a better job lined up, like every single time. And then finally I decided to go self-employment wide, like, side of things. And it's even more accurate now. If I want more money, how am I not showing up? How am I entitled to more money, but I'm not actually showing up to receive more money? Because if I was showing up to receive more money, my actions would back me up. Okay? So that's what it looks like in, like, the business world when I feel entitled to a better experience than the one I'm getting. Well, let's go back to dating. I'm entitled to a shittier experience than the one I'm getting because that is the one I expect I deserve. I believe I deserve a worse experience than the one I'm getting. So guess what'll happen? At the time, I would sabotage every relationship I was in. I don't have any regrets. Like, the relationships weren't true. It's fine. But I would. That's how I would behave in accordance to that. But now to shift that, it's just coming back into presence. What am I actually in? Is this experience one I actually want, like, in my heart? Because part of thinking you are less deserving than you actually are is having to betray yourself. And you'll know it. You'll feel it. Because you will start to gaslight yourself into believing certain behaviors are okay. You will start to choose people who reflect what you think you deserve, right? And you'll see this in movies too. Like, what movie was it when it was like, you know, people accept the relationships that they believe that they deserve? That is a form of entitlement. And so the longer I kept believing that I was entitled to guys who didn't actually want to spend time with me, guys who couldn't handle their money, guys who were verbally and emotionally abusive, guys who had drug problems and drinking issues. The longer I continued to believe that needed to be accepted, the more I attracted that kind of guy. The more I accepted that kind of guy. The more that I accepted those kinds of relationships because I believed that's what I deserved. Until I got fucking real with reality. I'm a bomb-ass babe. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if it's brand new information for you, but I'm fucking rad. I am powerful. I am intelligent. I'm fucking beautiful. I'm not even wearing makeup today. I know this about myself. I'm primarily sober. I enjoy a cocktail every now and then, but I don't really need to drink to be a good time because I'm fun. I deserve exactly what I'm going to show up for in this world. And if I show up for shitty relationships, then that's what I'm going to get. If I show up, though, and I say, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't want drugs in my life. I don't want alcohol in my life. Then I'll stop choosing it. But as long as I think that that's what I deserve, I'll choose it. Right? And I'll be constantly disappointed because I feel entitled to the disappointment. That's the other notion of entitlement, too, is that you feel not only entitled to a different experience than the one you're actually with, it's entitlement to the disappointment. Because if you were in present reality, you would never be disappointed. You would get exactly what you see. Right? And so if I'm entitled because I think I deserve a better experience than the one I'm getting, the reality is you're still going to get this experience. Then I'm constantly going to be disappointed. Oh, I want better customer service, but I'm not going to get that customer service. So here I am, disappointed about it. I want a shitty relationship, and I feel entitled to it. I want a shittier experience than the one I'm getting. I'm going to be disappointed because it's actually not what my heart wants. Our hearts are not actually here for entitlement. Our hearts are actually not here for deservedness either. Our hearts are here for alignment. Deservingness is a mental concept. Do I deserve this? Did I do enough? Have I accomplished enough? Have I been a good enough person? It's like there's a sense of having to be a certain kind of being to get something in life rather than being like, did you show up? That's really all it takes is, did you show up in your life? And it's so funny because when you start to see people, and you'll see this in your life and in yourself too, that those who carry really heavy entitlement patterns, if you ask them, did they show up? They'll fucking lose their mind. Don't ask them this. Okay? I ask you this if you're in a coaching container with me, but like, did you actually show up? Did I actually show up to receive what I was getting? And if I did, and I didn't like what I got, was I showing up to get a different experience? Or was I demanding it from someone? Was I expecting someone else to give me the experience rather than showing up for the one I wanted? Because here's the thing. Okay, I'm going to use this as a silly example. If you want Saks on Fifth Avenue service, you're not going to go to McDonald's for it. That's not where you show up. If you want country club service, you don't show up to the pub. So what the experience that you deserve, the thing that you think that you want, that is different than your reality, is a dismissal that you could have went somewhere else for it. And I used to joke around with a girlfriend of mine about, the concept of entitlement too, because it's my favorite topic and I have like all of these thoughts about it. But it's like walking into a steakhouse and you're like, I want a turkey sandwich. And they're like, ma'am, we don't serve turkey here, but we have some of the finest cuts of steak on the planet. Can we offer you one of those? Nope, I want a turkey sandwich. Sir, we only have Kobe beef here. However, across the street, they serve turkey. Nope, I want it from you. You're going to give it to me. You can see the entitlement, right? Because entitlement is rooted in absolute insanity. It's like, you came here expecting a different experience than the one that you're getting. And now you're mad because I'm not giving the one that you want. Versus you coming here realizing, oh shit, this isn't the experience that I want. And you being personally responsible to go to the turkey shop down the street and get a turkey sandwich. This applies to everything. I want an experience different than the one that I'm getting because I'm unwilling to accept that I walked into a place that isn't going to give me the thing that I want, and therefore not be responsible by moving and getting the thing that I want elsewhere, where it actually makes sense. If I want a loving relationship, but I believe that I don't deserve one, I need to get present with reality and see, like, is this what I want? Yes or no? If it's not what I want, I have to be responsible and shift it. Go somewhere else. But not to self-sabotage in a way that, like, if I'm already in a good relationship and it's, like, the right one, recognizing that, like, if I believe I deserve something shittier, that I have to be personally responsible and accept that I might be contributing to that experience. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to leave you guys there. Hopefully this all made sense. I have to take this goober out for a walk. Let me know what you left here with. Let me know what landed, what resonated, what was important for you to hear. And if you are interested in coming to work with me, there are a bunch of different ways to do so. I have bank membership, which is where we look at entitlement through resources. So time, money, energy. It's a really great place if you're looking at, like, oh my God, I want a raise at my work, but like my boss isn't giving it to me. That's probably going to be the path that you want to explore. Or if you're an entrepreneur and you want to clean up your relationship to resources. But then I also have Enchantment, which is opening a digital membership at the end of May, which is really all about, like, revealing who you really are. So taking the fantasies, the stories that you tell yourself, and totally stripping them and being like, you know what? I'm not the story that says I'm not deserving. I'm also not the story that says that I am way more deserving than I am, because I'm not the story that I need to be deserving of what I get. Right? So it's really going to explore all the fantasies that you have and the ways that you get in your own way from actually revealing the magic of who you are. And then there's also personal coaching. So if you are more of like, I need some one-on-one attention, you can apply for that too. So just send me a message and I will gladly send you the appropriate links for the journey that you are seeking. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye.